Hello, everyone, and welcome to Kroll's weekly threat intelligence briefing for the 1st of December 2025. My name is Ryan Hicks, and with me today is Ethan Afari. So this week we'll be covering following topics. First, I'll be covering our out of ban that we released last week for the return of Sahi-halud, the worm, targeting NPM packages. Then on to reports of UK London Council cyber attacks, Iranian nation-state intelligence gathering, and warnings of potential credential leak using sort of various online tools. Ethan will then finish off looking at Korean leaks, an MSP supply chain breach. So first up, as I mentioned, we released this as an out of bands last week. Lots of reporting and talk around this. So we kind of published the information early to help defenders for this. And this is the second wave of Sahi-halud's NPM compromises. For the second wave, reporting from Koi Security suggested that 800 packages were confirmed infected, around the same number as the first wave, just slightly more. I think there was 700 or so in the first wave. And this time included, again, popular packages for Zapier, Postman, Async API, lots of others with a high download count. Victims that downloaded and installed the infected packages will themselves become infected through a series of actor-introduced pre-installed scripts located in the package. And those were found setup_bun.js and bun_environment.js. Like the previous campaign, this initiates the TruffleHog tool, which is a legitimate open source tool used to scan for over 800 credential secrets, including NPM tokens, GitHub, AWS, Azure, and many, many more. Like the previous campaign, if GitHub credentials are found, it creates a new public repository under that victim developer's account with random characters for the repository name, where the previous campaign saw the name was Sahi-halud. And these new repositories contain the description SHA-1-halud, the second coming. Likely a tactic used by a threat actor to make sure the repositories are easier to find in bulk, thus increasing the leak impact. So very easy to search across and find all of those repositories in one. Inside each one is a JSON file with several layers of base64 encoded text, and that decodes eventually to show the TruffleHog raw data collected from the victim. And when we screenshotted last week, so on the right hand side there, over 18,000 public repositories were present, many with credentials. However, researchers on social media X reported up to 28,000 at its peak. As of today, it has significantly reduced down to under 500, likely as people are made aware of this last week and they started checking their own repositories. Maybe some were taken down, so certainly reduced in number. As well as this activity, it also infected additional packages by looking at the victims' packages they maintain on NPM, infecting using the same JavaScript files and then incrementing the package version and then publishing back to NPM. And these new packages are then ready to be downloaded by new victims, and that kind of cycle continues the same ways that we saw in the first revision, really. A new feature really this time compared to previously is during Aikido analysis, if it cannot authenticate to GitHub or it cannot fetch tokens from NPM or GitHub, it will attempt to delete all writable files owned by the victim within the home directory. So kind of an added thing there, just to, I guess, annoy the victim and just cause more chaos, essentially, if they aren't able to grab any credentials at all. Like the first one, it's unknown how the first or what the first package was that got infected or how, but based on recent trends due around or social engineering to developers, it's likely that a developer or multiple developers received social engineering phishing through a spoofed email from a fake NPM address, and that kind of spread from there. So recommend really checking for any existing or previous installations of the affected packages. So we have a link in the report itself of those. NPM developers should check for any unknown updates to their maintained packages. And if any signs of compromise are seen, re-rolling secrets that may be present on the device. As I mentioned, it can grab a huge range of credentials. So yeah, certainly that would be number one really, is ensuring those secrets are rolled as they are potentially published publicly. So next up, a few stories here. So firstly, a short one. The Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea, Westminster and Hammersmith and Fulham councils in London, UK, have reportedly suffered a cyber attack based on their shared infrastructure. They promptly notified the Information Commissioner's Office, enlisted cyber security experts, and engaged with the National Cyber Security Centre, or NCSC, here in the UK. According to Sky News reporting, a number of systems were taken offline. The attack is being treated as a likely serious intrusion, given the shared infrastructure among those councils, and some councils warning that extra care should be taken when receiving emails from other councils. So sort of extra vigilance really required when kind of liaising with those and other the councils until further information is revealed. No threat group has claimed responsibility for the attack yet, and no real details of the attacks themselves have been released. But we continue to monitor for any updates, and we'll provide those where necessary. And second here on this slide, Amazon Threat Intel released a report stating that it believes Iranian nation-state cyber intrusions are deliberately using together real-time intelligence to support non-cyber military effects. The first case they mentioned details attack that are targeted maritime vessels' automatic identification system. They performed searches for the location of a particular vessel, which was then information was used to target used as a target for a Houthi missile strike. And the second case study detailed the compromise of a Jerusalem-based CCTV system just prior to a widespread Iranian missile attack on the city, likely with the intent of gaining real-time intelligence during the attack, possibly for better target selection or to understand how the strike affected the city. These reported examples of nation-state intel gathering prior to physical military effects are not necessarily new. However, it does serve as a recent reminder of the effectiveness and impact a cyber attack can have on physical and real-world conflicts. And lastly, for me, Watchtower has published their own research into how easy it can be potentially for threat actors to find and extract credentials from well-known tools used online. In particular, they mention or highlight JSONFormatter and Code Beautify. However, this has the kind of potential for a wide range of tools that are similar. As part of their research, they identified over 80,000 leaked JSON files that were indexed and saved by the tools, revealing confidential information such as cloud environment keys, FTP credentials, and sensitive API request data. And the information, of course, are highly valuable to threat actors, particularly during initial access to cloud-based platforms or to access code repositories owned by an organization. So the leak itself is caused by individuals essentially pasting JSON data or other code into the tools to make the codes cleaner, or however the tool works. But they won't be sanitizing the data first, and that's the kind of key point, really. And the tools that they highlight in particular provide a saving functionality, which is the case for JSONFormatter. And in that case, a sharing link is created, and that data is actually saved within the platform and can be passed essentially by any user, making the data basically public. So this is really a stark reminder, interesting research into the dangers of really the convenience of using these online tooling and potential for data leakage. It's worth noting just here the tools, all the features are not inherently malicious as such. Rather, it just kind of acts as a accidental insider threat through a misunderstanding of the potential threats of using this tooling. So really recommends education of employees on the threat of pasting this kind of data into online tooling for this sort of convenience, really encouraging the use of in-house coding methods to help restructure data or whatever the purpose is. But also if the tools are essential to use, really reinforcing the need to sanitize any data that's uploaded to them or any external tool for that matter. That's all for me. I'll hand over to Ethan.
Thank you, Ryan. The Korean leaks was one of the most significant hybrid geopolitical cyber campaigns, causing South Korea to become the second most targeted country globally for ransomware in the last months. This campaign utilized the infrastructure of the Qilin ransomware as a service platform, a group typically associated with Russian cybercrime, but featured the strategic goals of a state-linked threat actor, specifically the North Korea-linked affiliate Moonstone Sleet. This collaboration allowed Moonstone Sleet to gain lucrative funding streams and operational cover, merging espionage aims with criminal infrastructure. The entire operation was rooted in a tightly coordinated supply chain attack, which was successfully executed by compromising a single upstream managed service provider, or MSP, that supported numerous asset management companies. This compromise provided the scale and consistency needed to compromise 28 publicly documented victims, resulting in the threatened exfiltration of over 1 million files and more than 2 terabytes of sensitive information. Unfolding across 3 publication waves, the messaging accompanying the data leaks represent an unusual departure from standard extortion, shifting instead toward overt political propaganda. The attackers framed their actions as a public service effort to expose corruption and threaten to cause a national market crisis by leaking evidence of stock manipulation. While the third wave eventually reverted to more traditional financially motivated extortion messages, the campaign showed the intersection of cybercrime and geopolitics. Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks, Ethan. That is all we have for this week. If you do have any questions, please contact us at cti@kroll.com. Thank you and see you next week.